welcome. It's my pleasure, my privilege to be here with you. I'm Dr. Arnold Nerenberg. I've been a clinical psychologist for 45 years. I'm 76 years of age. It's a pleasure to be with you. I have a very important topic that I want to share. There is no honor in taking your life for granted. There is no honor in taking your life for granted. Why am I telling that to you? Why? Because I know you take your lives for granted. I know I have. And I've learned how not to do that, or to do it a lot less. You're taking your lives for granted. And so when you take your lives for granted, you're taking your significant other, your wife or your husband or your children. You're taking your boss for granted, or your employees for granted. You're taking your friends for granted. You're just taking your breathing for granted. But we need to learn to honor the moment. To honor the moment, to be grateful for the moment. There's so many blessings and abundance that we're immersed in. So we want to honor the moment. So there's no honor in taking your life for granted. People just rushing around frenetically, going here to there, just getting it done. You can just see the busyness going on, and they're just taking it for granted like they're going to be here forever. And then you find out, well, what happened to Joe? He was just zipping around yesterday. Well, he got hit by a truck. Oh, okay, well, he took his life for granted. He was acting like he's going to be here forever. So to do that, you need to be able to slow down time. You want to be in the moment. How do you do that? It's very simple. I'm going to show you right now. You ready? Do this with me. Take a deep breath. See here, I'm here now, right now. So just say to yourself, I am here now, right now. Enjoy the moment. I am here now, right now. Enjoy the moment. There you have it. It wasn't complicated. So when you're zipping around, you're doing things, it's all right. Sometimes you got to move fast. You got to get this done, that done. No problem with that. You can be on roller skates. Take out on your roller skates. But, notice what's happening. Don't take your life for granted. You want to enjoy the moment. You want to see what's happening. You want to experience the moment. And the deep breathing is important. You want to certainly appreciate that you have the breath. And you see, when you take your life for granted, I want to tell you what the real danger is. When you're taking your life for granted and you're taking others for granted, you're not having gratitude. When you take it for granted, there's a lack of gratitude. And humanity is suffering from lack of gratitude. I know guys, I see a lot of UPS drivers. They sacrifice their lives day by day for their wife, to their kids. They get up early in the morning. They drive all day. It's a tough job. They have to deal with management at the hub. It's not easy. They come home tired. They just get to see the kids for a minute, maybe have a little something to eat and go to bed and do the same thing the next day. High divorce rate. It's a profession with a very high divorce rate. They're driving, providing a valuable service to the world. The goods and things of this country need to be taken on the freeways and the highways and being delivered to the stores, to people's homes, a vital function. Now, this is true, just to give you an example. Honestly, and God bless their wives, they don't see their husbands, so they get the wives, rather than saying, well, thank you for sacrificing your life for us. You work all day, so you can put food on the table and give us this nice house, and kids are taken care of, they have their clothing, school. No. The wife will feel abandoned, say, this son of a gun's not even with me. I don't even see him. So there's no appreciation for the man, what he's done. Sacrifice. I know what these guys go through. Sacrificing their lives. There's no appreciation, no gratitude. So the wife, rather than saying, oh, thank God I have a husband like that, they go, I don't see the son of a gun. He's gone. I'm lonely. I don't have company. I just see the kids. My husband's gone. So she's just taking him for granted. I'm just using the wife situation. My husbands have the same issue. We'll talk about that in a moment. So look what she lost out on. She lost out on realizing what a jewel she has in her hand. She's taking it for granted. This guy is a jewel, sacrificing his life, getting up early in the morning. It could be pouring rain. He's getting out there, putting on his browns, getting in the truck, just a smaller truck or a big rig. He's going out there doing that. And she and the kids are home, in a cozy house, sleeping, whatever. And he's out there doing that. And they don't really know what he goes through. They don't even know what he has to deal with management and what he has to deal with out in the field. And so they're deprived, they're taking him for granted, which means they're taking their own lives away. They don't realize, well, look what you've been given. You were given a man who's faithful to you, doesn't beat you, just loves you, and sacrificing his life for you. Wouldn't it be a beautiful thing for the woman? Forget about even the man receiving. Wouldn't it be a beautiful thing for the woman to say, oh, I'm so fortunate. How lucky I am to have this man. How lucky I am. Wouldn't that be good for the woman? Forget the guy that he's getting the gratitude. Wouldn't it be good for a woman to feel that? Wouldn't it for the wife to say, oh, I'm so lucky. She sees her friends, they say, how's your marriage? Oh, I'm so blessed that my husband just sacrifices his life day by day. I can't believe what he does. I couldn't do it. And by the way, I couldn't do it myself. They go out and doing that work. I just couldn't do it. Most of us couldn't do that. So there we have the loss, taking life for granted. Now, the husband comes home, sees his wife, he's tired. She needs somebody to talk to. She starts talking to him, he's just too tired. Now, does he appreciate that she took care of the kids, that she fed them and took them and bathed them and took them to school or took them where they have to go, took them to the doctors, looked after the house, cooked his food, cleaned the house, made sure he got home and the food was prepared for him? How much does he appreciate that? Typically, not that much. He takes it, maybe doesn't even talk to her. She really needs some companionship. Rather than say, I'm exhausted, sweetheart, but you know what? I understand. You need, I want to listen to you because I know you want to tell me something. Let me listen because I love you. And this food is, wow, this is really great. And you look great. The woman's fixed herself up, looking good, taking care of herself to please her husband. He doesn't even notice that she just colored her hair or she's wearing something great that she knows he likes that. And he's not appreciating her, so what's happened? He's lost somebody saying, I've got a great wife. Man, she cooks my meals. She's faithful to me. I don't have to look over my shoulder what's going on. She's loyal to me. I trust her. I'm so lucky to have a woman like this, and she loves me. She would take a bullet for me. She'd take a bullet for the kids. Oh, man. It's great. I'm so lucky to have this woman in my life. And certainly not all men could say that, but many men could. Many men could do that, and they're not. So they're losing out on appreciating the woman that's in their lives, the mother of their children. And what she had to go through in childbirth, the pain, the excruciating pain, one after the other. If you have 3 kids, one, if she forgets the pain, she'll have another. If you bring it up too soon after one, she'll say, hey, what are you talking about? She still remembers the pain. But, a year later, she have another one. So she kept going through that. Maybe she had a C-section and the birth. She's screaming, having that child, bearing your baby. It was no hardship on the man. He enjoyed the sex. In the meantime, she's now bearing that child and going through that pain and doing that. And happy to do it, although it's extremely painful. So thrilled to have that baby there. Oh, yeah, she provided me 3 healthy children. She takes care of my kids. I'm a lucky guy. She's faithful. I don't have to wonder if they're my kids. I know they're my kids. That's beautiful, right? And most women are like that. Not all, but most. So they're taking care of my kids. The food is good. She has that food when I come home. It's ready. Now, I realize not all men have that, but many do. They've got a woman, particularly if she's home full time. She's doing that. If she's working, then they're sharing the household responsibilities. I'm talking more of a traditional role. So she's not appreciating him, and he's not appreciating her. So this is what I'm talking about. There's no honor and taking your life for granted. They're not honoring each other. They're not honoring the moment. They're not honoring all the blessings, all the abundance in their life is not being honored it's like it's not even there. So all the enjoyment you have, there's a very beautiful thing to enjoy your spouse, to enjoy a significant other. I know people get tired. So the gratitude is extremely important. Now, certainly, you're going to go through hardship. There's going to be failures, setbacks. And so you go, well, you're even taking the blessing of that for granted. Let's say, let me give you an example. I had this patient, Jimmy. He had a job, he loved it. He was in security, he was the head security guard of a major company. He said it was more than a job, it was like a place, it was a place where I was respected and loved. At Christmas I would get so many gifts. They would bring that to me, they all loved me there. So one day he got fired because they were showing pictures of nude women on the cameras. He saw the guys looking at it and he turned his back and he walked away. And then it eventually came out that he didn't stop them from doing it and he got fired with only I think it was like 60 days to retire. He's been there 30 years. He came to me and he said, "Doctor, this is terrible. I've lost my health benefits. I was going to retire in 60 days. This is horrible." I said to him, "Well, look." So he's now taking his life for granted. He's going through this hardship. He has so many blessings in his life, couldn't even appreciate them. His life was defined by losing that job, which was horrific, but he didn't know how to see the full story yet. So I said to him, I said, "Jimmy, within 4 weeks, you're going to look me in the eye and go, Dr. Nerenberg, losing that job was the best thing that could ever happen to me." He said, "You got to be kidding me. Really? I'm going to look you in the eye and I'm going to say losing my job was the best thing that ever happened to me after being there 30 years, being so respected, being somebody. Now I'm nobody. Losing my health benefits, my retirement benefits. You're going to tell me?" I said, "Yeah. Within 4 weeks, you're going to look me in the eye and you're going to say that's the best thing that ever happened to me was getting fired." 3 weeks goes by. Jimmy says, "Dr. Nerenberg, I can't believe I'm going to say this to you. It didn't take 4 weeks. Getting fired was the best thing that ever happened to me. It really was." And I said, "Here's why." He said, "All these years, I've had a good marriage. I've loved my wife. She's loved me. But she never thanked me for all the work I was doing, never. She came home the other day and she said, 'Jimmy, don't think I don't notice how you're preparing the meals when I'm coming home from work with a meal and you have the house vacuumed and cleaned. Don't think I don't notice. I see it and I love you more than ever just for what you're doing for me at the house. I'm so grateful to you.'" So she took it for granted all that time. Now he's home. She could see what he's doing, the love that's there for her. He said, "I love you more than ever." And he said, just to have my wife tell that to me, to see the love in her face, getting fired was the best thing that could have happened to me. So she took him for granted. The fact that he was up in the mornings, going that security job, being the head guy there. She never thanked him. She never said, "Thanks for going out and making all that money." He made a lot more money than she did. She never said, "Thanks for going out and making all that money. Thanks for paying the rent," because he was carrying most of the mortgage. He made so much more than her. Never thanked him, not once. Just took her for granted. She went out doing what she did and he went doing it. Now he's fired. He's making some of the meals, having the food ready, cleaning the house when she gets home. Everything's in order. And she said, "I appreciate you so much, what you've done. And I love you more than ever." So Dr. Nerenberg was worth getting fired just for that. So now, in their loss, see, people when they're going through stress really take things for granted. But once you realize that you're going to be great, you want to be grateful. See, not taking for granted. Gratitude overturns just taking things for granted. When you take it for granted, there's no gratitude. When you have gratitude, that's how you know you're not taking it for granted. When you have gratitude, you're not taking your life for granted. You're not taking that person for granted. You're not taking yourself for granted. When you don't have gratitude, that's one sign that you're taking your life for granted. I mean, you have this finger, that finger, that finger, this finger, this finger, this eye, your kidneys working, your liver's functioning, your heart's... I mean, come on. It's an infinite number of things to be grateful for. The truth of it is, you don't appreciate what you have until you lose it, or you're about to lose it. Now, So I'm going to give you the key for how to overcome taking your life for granted. But let me give you an example from my own life. There was some suspicion about my prostate cancer. There was a little lump on it. So I went in, had a biopsy done. Then I remember taking my motorcycle, going to the freeway, going to Cerritos, see my urologist, come in, find out the results of the biopsy. And I'm sitting there, the nurse is sitting there. I think, I wonder if that nurse knows the results. I mean, she doesn't look too happy. Maybe he's going to get bad news. Doctor walks in very serious. He sits down. He says, Dr. Nerenberg, you have prostate cancer. You tested positive from the biopsy. It's not a little bit, it's an intermediate amount. And it's somewhat aggressive, a Gleason of 7. So my face went numb. And the first thing I said to him, because I was already well versed in my own laws of honor, which I used to call power thoughts, the first thing I said to him was, that's great. He said, what? I said, yeah, it's great. I said, this prostate cancer will make me stronger, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. This prostate cancer will make me stronger, spiritually, emotionally, and physically. I think the guy was shocked. He never heard something like this. I know. I saw his face. He looked bewildered. I said, yeah, it's going to make me stronger. Now, get this. So I didn't know how long I was going to live. I walked outside. I saw things I never noticed. The clouds were so beautiful, so poignant. The trees blowing in the wind, the birds. It was like magical. I'd never seen it. I was so grateful just to be alive and see it. Now that I was facing my end of my life, I was so grateful. Another strange thing happened. Strangers going by, like some kind of veil lifted, and I just wanted to talk to them all. I felt so much love for people, strangers, people I knew. It was beautiful. And you see strangers in the street, you don't appreciate them, you don't know them, you never saw them before, you never seen them again. All of a sudden, it was just, felt love for these people that I never knew, never met, never will meet, just seeing them go by. Saw them as human beings like myself, here for a while and gone, and having their lives. I didn't know the details of their lives, but they were human beings like myself, and felt love for them. And that's the truth. And I just take them for granted, really. Just people walking by, taking up space. And by the way, I took the title Strongest Man in the World for my age and weight when I had the prostate cancer. Then they're wheeling me in a gurney a couple of weeks later, cut out my prostate. I'm joking around with the doctors, feeling love for them, joking with them. The anesthesiologist was cracking up, cut out my prostate, and good to go. I've been cancer-free since, set many world records since then. But my life was not for certain. See, if you're not facing a cancer, you're not facing the possible termination of your life, you take it for granted. But you see, well, I might lose this. I didn't really know how long I was going to be here, so I really appreciated the life. I really appreciated those trees and the birds. I mean, just always loved my wife and my kids. I was just feeling love for all of existence, all of creation. It was amazing. So when you think about somebody you love dying, your significant other, your children, whomever, you get in touch with, I want to really appreciate this person while I have them. Because, if you're around, you hit 40s, people start dying around you, hit 50 more, get my age, I don't have any aunts or uncles left, I don't have my parents, my grandparents, you get to an age where there's hardly anybody left, and you start looking back and missing them, and I appreciated when they were here, but could have appreciated them more, so then you start saying, wow, I appreciate who's here, because it's very real that, hey, there's only so many sunrises and sunsets, that's it, and then it's done. There's not an infinite number. So the whole thing is, once you realize your mortality and the mortality of your loved ones, it's not in a morbid way, not talking about a morbid preoccupation, just realizing it's just for a while that we have this privilege to be here. It creates this one way to overcome taking life for granted. So one of the secrets is realizing it's just here for a while, and you're just here for a while. Again, not in a bad way. Just I want to appreciate you, appreciate this life. Like I said, I see a lot of guys who drive the UPS, and you know what I say? I say, and they're going through stress from one thing or another. And I say, you're a 1%er. You're making like $80,000 a year. You're the top 1% in the world income-wise. You're in a country that people are dying to get in. You're an American. You're over here. I said, your family's in good health, you're in good health, and you're a disciple of honor, you've taken the pledge up, because the whole thing with the 4 commandments of honor is the foundation of the whole Nerenberg legacy therapy system. You understand what honor is about, you've been learning that from me. I mean, you're a rich man. And once I point out the big picture, the person goes, yeah, wow, yeah, you're doing, you're healing, you're doing well. You've achieved a lot. A lot of these guys just have a high school education. Some don't even have that. I say, wow, yeah. You're making more money than a lot of doctors, $80,000, or different people, professors at universities not making that $80,000. The health benefits, the retirement benefits through the roof. So, wow, yeah. And you've got a house, you love your wife, you have your kids, you're able to pay your bills, you're not in pain. You're in this country, you're in America. Oh, then all of a sudden, yeah. Then they start realizing, start feeling grateful. Once I paint the true pictures, this is just fact. I'm not making up anything to them. I say, I'm not just telling you this because I'm your psychologist. I'm just pointing out reality to you. I'm just pointing out fact. This is just reality. Reality is the best therapy. You just can't make up this kind of stuff. Look what you've got. I said, wow, yeah. 1% in the world. It's really probably the top third of 1%. I mean, that kind of money. In the world, you're a 1%er at least. So I said, oh yeah. And a lot of these guys came up poor. Let me tell you, a lot of these guys came up poor. A lot of them in the barrio, whatever, growing up. And I didn't even got that kind of money. And their friends, a lot of them are dead or in prison. And these guys are making that kind of money, an honest day's work, making good money with a lot of benefits, great health insurance. All these controversies, politics about the health insurance, they've got the best insurance policies. So, wow. People just die to have a life like you. I say, yeah, you're right. Now, I didn't cure them of what they came in. The stress is still there, but they lost sight of the big picture. So whatever was stressing them out, I didn't change that. But once you see the big picture, it doesn't bother you as much because you're grateful for the tremendous abundance that you've got. Even in stress. I had a guy come in, big, powerful guy, tatted up to his neck. You can see it right up in his neck, coming up to his jawline. Powerful looking. He was called a roughneck. He works in the oil fields. Came in, he said, Doc, I've lost everything. My wife left me, and that's not bad enough. She left me for another man. I said, oh my God, that's terrible. She took my kids. I don't have my kids. I said, I have 7 kids. I said, man, I feel so much compassion for you. And I was so stressed out, I lost my house. Couldn't keep the payments. I lost my wife, my kids, my house. Oh. I said, those are huge losses. I said, as a man, as a human being, I feel enormous compassion for you. As a psychologist, I understand the psychodynamics of your suffering. But I wanted this man to appreciate his life. I said, what if I told you there's a true story you can tell yourself that will give dignity, nobility, and honor to this loss? He said, really? I said, yeah. He said, what is that, Dr. Nerenberg? I said, it's this. I have lost everything, but I have gained myself. I've lost everything, but I've gained myself. Honestly, I saw his face go like, whoa, like a light came off his cheeks, out of his eyes. And I said that, and I said, behold, a true man is born before my very eyes. I went over and I hugged him. I said, I'm so proud of you. And he walked out floating. He says, yeah, I've lost everything, but I've gained myself. He said it to the secretary. He said, I've lost everything, but I have gained myself. Still didn't have his children. Still didn't have his house. Still lost his wife to another man. But he was floating because he was now grateful because the loss is true, but now he saw the gain and he was grateful that he gained himself. I had a woman, son was shot 9 times. He was in the hospital in stable condition. She came in weeping. I said, oh my God, this is a tragedy. This is a parent's nightmare. I said, I have 7 children. I feel so much compassion for you as a human being, as a parent. I said, as a psychologist, I understand the psychodynamics of your suffering. But what if I told you that's a true story you can tell yourself that will give dignity, nobility, and honor to your son and to you? Just like I said to him. there, the gentleman I was telling you about. So I'd love to hear that. I said, it's this. They shot my son 9 times. They couldn't kill him. God has a purpose for his life. They couldn't kill my son. They shot him 9 times. God has a purpose for his life. And just like with that roughneck, I saw her go from tears. I saw it dawn on her what I was saying. And then I saw her face become luminous in her eyes. And she said, yeah, God does have a purpose for his life. And she just started beaming. Her son was still laying in the hospital, stable condition, shot 9 times. She walked out. Well, the difference is she was grateful that God has a purpose for his life. She wasn't taking life for granted because now she had gratitude. She wasn't appreciating anything up to that point. How could she appreciate anything? Her son's been shot. He's in the hospital. Now she was just filled with gratitude that God has a purpose for his life. They couldn't kill him. Who gets shot 9 times and lives? Her son did. So a week later, she came to class still beaming. I was so happy to see. I can see she was still beaming. And I said, "Did you tell your son what I said?" She said, "I did." And he laughed. It made him happy. Yeah. So the whole thing was the perspective on it. To be able to tell yourself the best true story about your worst problems. And what facilitates that's being a disciple of honor, repeating the 4 commandments 3 times a day. In her case, it was, God, you wish is my only wish. I wish you well. I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problems, and I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. And she took a pledge. When a person is a disciple of honor, they take a pledge to repeat those 4 commandments 3 times a day. It maximizes the chance of keeping a wide perspective, not getting caught up in just a very narrow, very stressful look at the world. So this is some of the secrets. Some of the secrets to bringing honor, to honor the moment, because there is no honor in taking your life for granted, but there is honor in appreciating the moment. There's honor in honoring the moment, and there's great enjoyment and pleasure in feeling gratitude. It was my pleasure, my privilege to behold this in people and see it and have an opportunity to teach that and impart that to people. There's nothing more satisfying in the world than to be able to help people with that. So they're no longer taking their life for granted. And that's what I wish for you, so you no longer take your life for granted. It's a great, you have so much to be thankful for, and I know you know that. But now you're going to put that into practice. Thank you very much for being here.